my pupils at Minor International School, um, particularly the ones that are taking the WASSCE, the 2025-2026 academic year. I had promised to at least accompany them since I could not stay with them till the end of their time in the senior school. So I have decided to at least be with them, continue to guide them along the path. So for this evening, I had actually done a version of this video or this lesson, but unfortunately the file is too large that it will cost a whole lot of space and data for you to at least consume it or to have access to it. So I have decided to do another version that could consume lesser space as compared to the previous one I had done. So this poem is coming to us from the non-African section of the prescribed WASSCE literature syllabus. So if we look at the literature syllabus from WASSCE over the years have been prescribing a total of 6 poems for the non-African poetry and 6 poems for the African poetry. So I have decided to at least throw some weight on the poems till the end of this year. So getting into the new year, then we start targeting the 3 books that are left virtually. The reason why we could not exhaust the syllabus is because we had 2 syllabi that we were taking along simultaneously. That has to do with the government prescribed syllabus and that of the WASSCE syllabus. So we are virtually trying our best to at least do the little that we could do before you guys take the WASSCE. I know in no less a time the school is working and management is working so hard to bring you a teacher that will also as well take you along. But it was my responsibility to ensure that you guys had a very good exam, and in that respect I want to stay tuned and very close to you people, that I will be with you until you take the WASSCE. So let's look at this poem. So generally, if we look at the prescribed text from WASSCE, the prescribed poems, WASSCE normally prescribes a total of 12 poems. Yeah, a total of 12 poems. And among the 12 poems, WASSCE only brings 4 poems. They bring 2 African, 2 non-African. But it's not particular that they will tell you that this is the poem that we are bringing for this year, or this is what that we are bringing for this year. What they do, they select randomly. So the random selection has to give us some reason why we must treat all of the poems, if not amply, but at least with some iota of concentration on all of the poems. We must at least have a little idea on all of the poems, or either of the poems that are prescribed by WASSCE, because they don't tell us where they are going to bring the questions from or which poem they are going to select. There was a particular year, there was a particular time, because WASSCE normally prescribe these poems and texts for the span of 5 years. So there was a particular time that WASSCE prescribed a particular syllabus where a poem was missing throughout the time that they prescribed those texts. So that tells you that it is possible that we can prepare on a particular poem over and over again, and WAEC decides that they are not bringing questions on those poems, on that particular poem. But it will be our advantage to understand or have an understanding around all of the poems that are prescribed by WAEC. So to my own understanding, I think we have dealt with something like 3 poems out of the 12. And we have to continue treating those poems until we face the WASSCE. So today we are looking at Still I Rise by Maya Angelou. Of course, Maya Angelou as a lady here. Let's look at this lady, Maya Angelou. She's somebody that has certain features that we must look at closely. She is a very successful, she died later as a very successful writer. But if we are looking at her background, we have to look at her from 2 perspectives. Firstly, Maya Angelou is a woman. And most of her works have certain factor of gender in it. And also, she's an American. That tells you that she lives in a white man's land. But she lives there as a black person. Even though she was born in the American society, but she was a black American. And that has to give us some reason why we should go back to look at her background. If Maya Angelou is a black American in the American society, it tells you that she is not an origin of that society. And if she's not an origin of that society, as most whites claim, they could be correct. Because most of the black people that we see or that we hear of in the American society must have gone there, or their forefathers were taken there. So look at it that way. In recent times, our people leave Africa with the poise of looking for greener pastures. They go to America and some other European countries. And but before this time, that is in times of slave trade, our people were forcefully taken from Africa to America and some other parts of the world to go and work them there as slaves. So those slaves that they used to take over there to America to work in those plantations, when America was seeking validation and economic strength, those very blacks are those people that reproduce, they gave birth to children, and those children came up and gave birth to their own children. And that is how the black race became large and increased in the American society. So if somebody could claim that Maya Angelou is either a daughter or granddaughter or great-granddaughter of a former slave, we could not argue that. Okay? So we are looking at this poem, and it is very important that we pay attention to her background. Firstly, we are looking at her as a black American, and secondly, as a woman. Okay? Now, let's look at it this way. If we look at black Americans during those times that Maya Angelou grew up, because she's late now, and the early years, black Americans were vulnerable population in the American society. Black Americans were suppressed, were marginalized, and they were, even though they claimed to have been free, or in principle, they were said to have been free, but they were not totally free because these very free slaves could not have the life that was promised to them according to the laws of the American society. So because of that, they were deprived and they were impoverished and they continue to be slaves mentally. Because what was the need to be free in principle when in practice you are a very slave as you used to have been, or your fathers or your parents used to have been? So these black people were also slaves. So it is correct for us to say Maya Angelou wrote this poem as part of the marginalized African or black American society. And she also wrote this poem in her space as a woman, you know. You know, these are times when the rights of women and their prowess was very little. So women had little rights in those times. So because of that, they were marginalized. They are marginalized by their husbands. More so that she's a black lady. You know, with the blacks, it is just of recent that we had value and started respecting the rights and the space of women. Before this time, women we are very minor in our mentality as Africans. So it was very hard for you to see a black community giving that kind of regard, respect to women. They always take women to be people that belong to the backyard. So it is very important for us to look at Maya Angelou from these two perspectives. Herself as a black lady in the American society, a society that's marginalized and looked very low upon black people, and as a woman who is from a background that is the African background that gives very little respect to women. Okay, and she decided, or she decides to write this title for this poem, and she wrote it like Still. Okay, so if we look at Still here, Still gives us an impression of something like let me insert something here. Okay, Still gives us an impression of let's look at it this way. Nevertheless, nevertheless. Okay, let's look at one word. Sorry, nevertheless. One word. So what does nevertheless mean? Nevertheless means uh, no matter what. No matter what. Okay, I think that's the best impression. That no matter what, and she decides to put the last word there. Here, rise. Rise only happens to things that are down. Okay, you can only rise when you are down or when you are down. So Maya Angelou, as an African, who belongs to a community of human beings that we are taking as lesser humans by the white people, people whose history was plagued with all sorts of marginalization and um, inferiority. Okay, so also as a lady whose respect and rights has been trampled upon over the years and over the ages, she decides to put this word here, rise. That is, leaving your marginalized space, leaving your downtrodden space, leaving the space where you have been looked low upon, you have been, uh, let's say, infuriated over the years, and decides to make those actions of the people that had infuriated her, or has her race, or her gender, and decides to make it an error, make it appear as if it's an error. Okay, so Angelou is trying to present a case where we should understand that no matter what, I will leave the space that you had created in your minds for me, that is the downtrodden space, the space of marginalization, and I will go beyond your expectations. No matter what, I will go beyond your expectations as men and masculine driven societies. And no matter what, I will go beyond the expectations as white people. Okay? So she decides to give this title to this poem based on that particular respect. Now, let's look at uh, the first stanza of the poem. Angelou in this poem gave wrote something like 9 stanzas. Out of the 9 stanzas, she wrote 4 lines each. And based on my research, I understand, and over the years in total, I've understood that the number 4 is a number for construction. Let's look at just look at foundation. It's a foundational number, a very strong and stable foundation. Okay, so if you look at 4 as a number, literally, we must understand that 4 means a stable foundation. So Angelou decided to give us 9 stable foundations, and at the end of the 9 stable foundations, we realized that at the end of the day, we had a completion. So the number 9 means completion. Okay, the number 9 means completion. And to a certain extent, if we look at, in fact, the numerical values or sphere, we realize that 9 is the last single digit. After that, you are going to double digits. Okay, so Angelou is trying to tell us that she's leaving her behind and she's moving to a bigger space. Okay, so she decided to write 9 stanzas for us, out of which we have 4 for each stanza. So if we can multiply 4 by 9, we're going to have something like 36. So if we look at 36 and decide to put a 0 after it, we are having a completion. So if we look at, in fact, in mathematics and trigonometry, realize that 360 degree means to complete the race, to complete a complete sphere. So like we are going 360, for example, we just have to move round onto completion. So Angelou finished her work for this particular poem, and this poem is a very beautiful poem. So let's just sit back and relax and try to analyze and have an understanding around it. So Angelou, as a black woman, as a black and a lady, decides to begin her poem by saying, "You may write me down in history." So the "you" here could refer to who? The masculine energy, in the first place. Look at it. You may refer to the masculine energy, and also, to a certain extent, the white people, the white dominated environment. So he is challenging them. So if we look at, the analysis for this particular stanza here, you realize that Angelou used a very bold and assertive tone, a very bold one. Say, no matter what, I'm going to rise. So if you like, you may write me down in history. You can say women are not serious. You can say black people are not serious. Now, in fact, if we come back to the second line, we're going to realize that Angelou mentions that there are certain lies that have been placed against her person. So here, say, with your bitter, twisted lies, you may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. Bitter, twisted lies. Bitter, twisted lies. What are those lies? What are some of those lies that we think the white society has been already projecting about black people, and the male-dominated environment has been always posting about women? So in the first place, let's look at the white race. White people over the years have made black people appear as if we are less intelligent, and there is nothing good that comes out of us. In fact, there are certain lies that white people had heard over the years. We could remember quite vividly in history that there were times when white people used to convince black people to at least make them realize their tale. We know very vividly that in one of Buche Mechita's novels, she mentions how a particular set of white people had to interface with a black man who was referred to as Panobo in that novel. And those people tried to pay Panobo, that Panobo could convince them as to whether black people have tails or not. So as far as white people are concerned, we the black people have not totally changed or evolved around the claim that human beings had come from being baboons and chimpanzees. As far as they are concerned, we are partial baboons and chimpanzees. Okay, the white people believe that our race is the most uncivilized race. We the black people, they don't think there's anything good that comes out of us. They think that black people are lazy. Same thing goes for men and the male-dominated environment. The male-dominated environment has always held the view that women are lazy people, women are less intelligent, women are do not have any value to offer in society. But let's look at these two things. Why do Angelou claim that uh, these things are lies against her person? Because let's look at that in the first place. Why people claim that blacks are lazy people? But let's look at civilization and the workforce that the white people came down to Africa to take black people easily because they could not work on their very farms that they had established in America and some other parts of the world. So they had to come down to Africa to take able-bodied men because they knew that their bodies were not that strong to operate under those harsh weathers. So they decided to come down to Africa to take strong people. So that tells you that they are lying, their beliefs are lies. White people believe that we have no iota of civilization in our generation. But let's look at civilization and the generality of civilization itself. If you look at civilization, history will tell you that civilization itself started from Africa. So who is more civilized? Who tasted civilization earlier? It is the black race. White people believe that blacks are less intelligent. If we could look at August Wilson's play, where a particular young boy who is August Wilson was thrown out of the school easily because he scored higher than black children in the same class. As far as the white people are concerned, blacks could not be more intelligent than whites because after all, white people eat better. They eat all of the fatty foods and proteinous foods, while the blacks eat or feed on breadcrumbs, beer crumbs, sorry. So it is very important for us to note that these things, as Angelou could claim, are lies. That women are strong. Africans are strong. Is it not women that do the heaviest part of the job at the house? There are certain homes that you can go for. So in fact, currently, you realize that women are the very ones that clean the houses. They are responsible to cook, to clean the children, and at the end of the day, they also go to job. And in the evening, they could come back to the house, take care of the children, and wait for the husband to service the husband. While the husband is just there carrying the masculine identity as the power. But to a certain extent, Angelou wants us to understand that these people only claim to be powerful, more intelligent, and more civilized. But if you look at it critically, the civilization itself, the beauty itself, the character itself comes from the black race and the feminine gender. So she goes further to say, you may trod me in the very depths if you want rubbish me. At the end of the day, but still like dust, I rise. I rise, but still, no matter what, no matter this your action, no matter the kind of lies that you can tell about me, I will still rise. That is not enough for me. So this is very challenging, ladies. Let us understand this one. It's very challenging. So this one just challenges us. For those of us that think that mere lies are enough to just make us feel bad, somebody can just lie about you and tell pathetic lies about you, and you feel bad about yourself, and you decide to give up. Why are you giving up? Angelou is encouraging you that you must not give up. That must be your strength. That must be your strength. So in fact, if you look at the analysis here, realize that the first set of stanza is rhymed with ABC, sorry. And there's a refrain here, alright, this one is going down, down, down. And the device is similarly the use of like here, of course, and the imagery, of course. Image throat, like here, meter twisted, imagery, okay. You may throw me, that means you can rub me, you can drag me, okay. In that, it's also imagery that is used there. So let's understand that and move further to the next stanza. We're looking at the second stanza. So Angelou brings up a rhetorical question. Of course, we know what rhetorical questions are. Rhetorical questions are questions that do not require an answer. They are meant for what? Conviction. Conviction. Rhetorics are meant for conviction. So here, Angelou tries to convince the white people and men in the respect that he asks them questions. The first question is, does my sassiness upset you? What is sassiness? Boldness. When you are sassy, you are bold, you are not easily intimidated. You are not easily intimidated at all. So, excuse me. You're not easily intimidated at all. So, Angelou goes further to ask, does my sassiness upset you? Being that I'm bold as a woman or as a black person, does it upset the white people or men? Being that I am not easily intimidated, does it upset white people? Because as far as white people are concerned, they want blacks to always be submissive. You know, one thing about oppressors is that the sheen of their subjects irritates them. When you are a subordinate to a particular superior body, you cannot overshine or outshine them. When you tend to outshine them, what happens to them? They become irritated. They are easily intimidated by that. They feel like, oh, let's just look at it this way. Somebody is there and the person is a landlord, okay? And the person rented an apartment to a tenant. The person does not have a car. The landlord does not have a car. Then the tenant, upon renting the house, later on buys a very expensive car. What do you think will happen to that tenant? At the end of the day, the tenant is going to be injected because there is going to be an ejection because the landlord does not think that the tenant should have enough money to buy a car. So the landlord will feel somehow irritated, intimidated, because as far as the landlord is concerned, he is a superior over the tenant. The landlord doesn't expect the tenant to outshine him. Okay, failing to realize that maybe it could just be that there had been certain circumstances that must have led the tenant to have rented an apartment with him. That's the same situation we are seeing here. So the question that is posed to the white race is that, why do you feel bad that I am bold and I am not easily intimidated? Why do you feel bad? And she also goes further to ask, why are you beset with glow? When I'm shining, I am glowing. You feel like, you feel so bad because you don't think that a black person must shine like you or even more than you. This also brings us to August Wilson's situation in the classroom. When August Wilson was sent out of the school and driven, easily because he did well and even scored better than white children with whom he was staying in the same class. As far as the white people and the principal, the teacher, we are concerned, a black child cannot be more intelligent than white children. They easily become irritated by that. If you are a white person, doing good things as for them is a normal thing, but it becomes abnormal for a black person to do well. So it besets them, as Angelou claims here. Cause I walk like I've got gold mines, gold, I've got oil wells pumping in my living room. Oil wells. Oil wells there talks about what? Treasure. Okay? This one talks about treasure. Treasure. So Angelou thinks that the white race is envious of black people because they think that the black are rich. This is somehow, to a certain extent, a contrast. Okay? That's why you see among the poetic devices that are used there, you see contrast there because to a certain extent, that could not be the reason. That could not be the reason. The white people are thinking that there is nothing good that comes out of the black person. So Angelou is now claiming that, are you jealous because I am rich in natural resources? My continent, my source is rich in natural resources. Why? And let's go further to see how this one grows to be. So we'll move to the third stanza. Angelou also uses simile here to compare herself and her boldness to that of what? Moon and suns. Just like moons and suns. Moons and suns. So what I want us to understand is, why did Angelou add S to the moon and S to the sun? Why does she have to add to those two words? Don't we have, it's not only one moon that we have. The whole of the globe has only one moon. It's not only one sun that we have as a globe. Why does Angelou compare herself to moons and suns? Let's look at it this way. The moon rises in a particular time. The sun also rises and falls in a particular time. But what is more certain is that they rise. So Angelou takes it that it is a rebirth for each rise that the moon rises, for each rise that the sun rises. So with the certainty of tides. So come what come may, the moon rises, but every other day the moon rises. Every other day the sun rises. It is inevitable. So Angelou is looking at her sheen and her success and her achievement as something that is inevitable. It is very certain that she's going to make it. She's going to rise. She is not going to stay in the atmosphere, in that toxic atmosphere that the white people have placed her in. Is that not the reason why we see black people shining today in the white environment? Have you forgotten that very recently we had one of the sweetest and the best heads of states in the world has ever experienced, Barack Obama, as a black person, leading the greatest nation of Earth, America. So when the sun rises, does not matter your reaction or your perception about the sun. If you do not like the sun, you have to dig and go and block yourself there. But the sun, upon its rising, it shines in every space. You cannot stop it. So if you don't want the sheen of the sun, if you don't want the sheen of the moon is better. Maybe when the moon shines, if you have built your house, if you have covered it, the sheen of the moon cannot enter into the house. But for the sun, the sheen of the sun is what brings light during the day, gentlemen and ladies. The sheen of the sun is what brings light during the day. So the sun has to shine, doesn't matter what. So Maya Angelou is comparing herself to those two entities. And the tide comes every moment in time. The tide is that thing that swings, that rolls on the ocean, the seas. So you cannot stop it. You cannot stop the tide from rolling. You cannot stop the sun from shining. You cannot stop the moon from shining. That's what Maya Angelou is comparing herself to. Since you white people cannot stop the moon from shining, the sun from shining, the tides from rolling, you cannot stop me from shining. You cannot stop me from rising. Yeah. Okay. You cannot stop me from rising. So comparatively, Maya Angelou is comparing her success and her achievement, her inevitability, the inevitability of her success, that no matter what, you cannot stop her success. Okay, she goes further to say, just like hopes springing high. How does hope spring? See they rise. Does hope spring? That takes us to this particular device here, personification, of course. Very clear. Hope's rising. When you are hoping for something, you do not look at the challenges that may come your way. The most important thing is you want that thing to happen. So you hope for it. Okay. Yes. So somebody, I used to hear people saying, if wishes were horses, beggars go out. Right. So the reason why beggars could ride on horses is because even beggars have hope. And when you have hope, the possibility that you will thrive is very, very much alive. So hope must keep you moving. Hope must keep you moving. That could be one of the stories that Maya Angelou is trying to present to us. So let's go further and look at the next stanza, stanza 4. Here also we have 3 rhetorical questions. The first one is, did you want to see me broken? Now Maya Angelou is becoming somehow emotional here. And we sense some kind of sorrowful tone. She's emotional. Do you want to see me broken? So people that hate you, that's what they want to see. But you cannot ask them that question. But Maya Angelou is trying to let us understand that people that do not want you to rise, or do not want you to be successful, that's what they want to see. Bowed head and lowered eyes. Here we see something like imagery. Do you want me to always be there in shame? My head bowed down, my eyes gone down. And she mentions shoulders. Shoulders are things that symbolizes our pride. So do you want to see me shrinked in pride, humbled? People that hate us, they always want to see us humbled. That's the situation that men always want to see women. That's the situation where white people always want to see black people. Always. They want to be always seeing white people humbled. When you are talking to them, you bow your head. They feel great when they see that. They feel great. Men always want to see women bowed, humbled. That's why men always aim at killing the pride of women, because they don't want to see women successful. So men can tell you that I don't marry a woman that is a corporate woman. I don't marry a woman that is working. Because they think that a working woman will be very difficult to control, to be humbled. Because they need to humble a wife. A wife that must be your playmate, your mutual partner, that you share everything with. Why must you be a superior power over your wife? So that's the kind of society that we are presented. So that's what Maya Angelou is asking. Why do men always want to see women in a humble situation? Why do white people always want to see black people in humble situation? That's what Maya Angelou is asking. So in this stanza, it's all about questions. Shoulders falling down like teardrops, crying. That's what you want to see me? Wakened by my soulful cries. You want to always be seeing me crying? Always? That's what you want to see? So let's go further and see what the next question brings. Next stanza. Stanza 5 also begins with, after asking so many questions in the last stanza, in the previous stanza. So my Angelou also asks here, does my haughtiness offend you? What is haughtiness? When they say this lady hot, it does not mean that the lady is H-O-T. It is H-A-U-G-H-T. Hot. That means you are blooming. You bloom. You are shining. You are shining. You are bold. You are easily detected. Why do you think that white people are always offended by black people shining, being attractive, blooming? Sorry. Why? Must we not glow as black people? So why do you think also men also will not think women must outshine them? They feel uncomfortable, they feel offended. So she also goes further to say, don't you take it awful hard. So this one you are seeing here is what contrast. So Ma Angelou tends to be asking the question, what she's saying is, you have not been offended well. Because if that is what offends you, be ready to be offended, because I will shine. I will glow. I will bloom. You cannot stop me. I'm a sun. You cannot stop me from shining. I'm a tide. I have to roll. You cannot stop me from shining. So she goes further to say, cause I laugh like I have got gold mines digging in my own backyard. Ma Angelou, after mentioning wealth, now she mentions what? Gold. That also has to bring our attention to what the natural resources that Africa possesses. But let's look at it from the angle of women. Why does Ma Angelou has to mention gold mines digging in her backyard? And let's relate that one to women and the relationship between women and men. So where do women have their gold mine? Ladies, a gold mine is beside the natural resource, the hub. Where does the women have the hub of their natural resources? We say better day per woman. Then let's look at the body of women. Where do they have their gold mines? Within the benefit, we say then get them riches by them body. Where can we have that? That's a question for you guys to answer. I cannot answer it. I'm a teacher. So let's move ahead to the next stanza. Stanza 6 says, you may shoot me with your words. How do you shoot them with your words? By lying. So if we look at all of those lies that white people have been telling about black people, is another way of killing them. So when you lie at somebody, you are killing that individual. You don't want that person to rise. You are killing. That's why Ma Angelou uses this particular word, shoot. Because Ma Angelou wants to express to us that those that lie over issues on people, they are killing those individuals, and it's metaphoric. So Ma Angelou also goes further to say, to challenge them, you may cut me with your eyes. It's also killing. It is. It's also killing. So when you don't like somebody and the person is doing well, there is a way you look at those people, and if only those people can detect that you are looking at them, you kill their spirit. That is, if those people care, you kill their spirit. So virtually, Angelou is accusing those that look at people badly easily because those people are shining and they do not want them to shine, as those people are killing those individuals. When you lie at somebody, you are killing them. So you may kill me. She mentions killing here now. Finally, you may kill me with your hatefulness. You don't want to see me. You hate me. She like kill me. Angelou is saying, no matter what, no matter what, if you like or do all of these things to me, no matter what, I will rise. Like what? Yeah. Air enters into every space, ladies. You cannot stop an air from entering into a space. So Angelou is saying she is irresistible. Herself and success, they are like this. You cannot separate them by your lies. You cannot say because this lady is a black person, I'm a white, I don't like her, she's a witch, she's a thief because she's black, she's unprofessional. It doesn't matter to her. She has made up her mind. She is determined to rise. So that's up to you, ladies. I don't think people telling lies about you is enough for you to be discouraged about your life or to kill down your spirit. I don't think people looking bad at you because you are doing well is enough to kill down your spirit. You must stay focused, just like Angelou. You must be an heir, just like Angelou. You cannot be stoppable. You cannot be stoppable. So let's move to the next stanza. Stanza 7 says, begins with the question, does my sexiness upset you? Now here, how sexy do you think black people are as compared to white people? Their bodies, It's very hardly for you to find a white lady that is. In fact, the curviest human on the planet is a black lady, a North African. The curviest woman. That tells you how sexy the African race is. The African race is very sexy. White, black people, black women are very sexy, very attractive. Okay? And that upsets the white people. It upsets the white people. So the white people, she's also asking, does it come to you as a surprise? Are you surprised that I'm sexy? Are you surprised that I dance like I got gold mines, diamonds at the meeting of my ties? Now, Angelou is also coming. Oh, diamond, where is your ties? Where your ties, mate? She has diamonds there and other natural resources for Africa. But let's look at the gender aspect. So as a woman, where do you think their diamond lies? That's a question for you. You can answer it. And now, let's move further. Stanza 8 says, out of the hearts of history's shame arise. The hearts of history. Now, white people have held a very wrong perception about us before these years. But that must not limit you as a black person. As a lady, men and the masculine societies have held very wrong ideas about you over the years. In the past, history, this must be an history. But that must not be enough to let you stay down. Angelou says, that is my past. My past must not influence my future or my destination. I am rising. She goes further to say, up from the past that's rooted in pain. How painful was it? Marginalization of black people, marginalization of women, gender violence, gender-based violence, intimidation, slavery, slave trade, colonization, all of those things. There are certain histories about slaves and their masters. If you hear those histories, you cry. Angelou is mentioning them to be painful. Angelou has become emotional somehow in this situation. But Angelou is saying that is in the past. She also mentions past. it must not affect you. Don't allow that to affect you. Whatever perception people had held about you before is in your past. It must not haunt you. Your parents are beggars, so what? As for me, my parents are farmers. They used to be farmers. And so what? They are teachers, and so what? That must not affect your present person. Your past must stay in your past. In fact, your past must inspire your future. You must decide to rise just like Angelou because of your awful past. Your awful past must inspire your future or your destination. That's what you must think about. And now she goes further to say, I am a black ocean, leaping and wide. Now, Maya Angelou has made the claim here that she is black. That has to do with her race. So this line only confirms to us the two basic themes of the poem that are what? Racial discrimination and what? Gender. Um, gender. So here, the black has to do with race. Okay. And the ocean here is a metaphor that can replicate what? Women. Why do we have to replicate women for ocean? An ocean has similar attributes and characteristics of women. An ocean holds so many natural resources in our belly and it produces so many things that feeds the world. The same as women. And the ocean is mysterious. Just like women. Women are also mysterious. So Maya Angelou confirms to us that this poem is about what? Gender inequality and racial discrimination. Okay? Welling and swelling, I bear in the tide. Blow, 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 blow. No matter the tribulations, the problems that we face as black people and women, no matter what. Welling, swelling, welling, swelling, welling. Troubles here tomorrow, things are well. Tomorrow trouble, tomorrow things are well. But what happens is the faith is kept. Angelou keeps the faith and we go ahead, leaving behind nights of terror. Angelou has decided to leave her past. We are now in down. Angelou accepts the fact that the past was terrible. There were times troubles had befallen the women and black people. But she emphasizes on this, arise. So for those that say I'm facing hard times, so because of that I could not finish school, I could not go to school, it is not enough. You being a black person is not enough that you cannot succeed. You being a woman is not enough that you cannot succeed. You being poor is not enough that you cannot succeed. An orphan is not enough that you cannot succeed. Okay? It is not enough. You must keep the faith. That must inspire you further to go further and achieve your goals. Maya Angelou goes further to say, into a daybreak that is wondrously clear I rise. Maya Angelou is claiming that the day has just broken. Now, things are well. I will succeed no matter what. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave. Who are the ancestors? Those people that had come before us. What are those gifts? Those lies that our people had told about us. That white people had told about us, that we are stupid, we are this. Those are lies. And Angelou is claiming that people that had come before us, their spirits are with us. Their spirits are with us. So the spirit, the power of Angelou only manifests her blackhood and Africanism in this situation. Because Africans believe in superstition. So Angelou becomes a little bit superstitious, claiming that the spirits of her ancestors, those that have come before them, their prayers, all of their dreams that they had died and left, she has brought them with her. Okay? And now she finally says, I'm the dream and the hope of the slave. So there is one thing I always used to tell people, my students. There was a particular, I think, drama I was teaching the other time. I told my students that if you are not a medical doctor, okay, you have to do everything, and you wanted to be a medical doctor, you have to do everything in your power to produce a medical doctor. If you wanted to be a lawyer, but your circumstance could not enable you to be a lawyer, do everything that could produce a lawyer. Your children, you can train them. Since you could not become what you wanted to be, your child can become what you had desired to be. So your dreams must stay alive. Angelou is claiming that I am the dream and hope of the slaves. So whatever past that we used to have must not influence our future. They must only inspire our future. So when we get there, those people that came before us can be proud that, oh, this girl, she did it. We are very proud of you. We are very proud of you. They will have become the same person as you are, but maybe their circumstances could not enable them. But you that attained it, my parents did not become lawyers, but I will become lawyer. There is no educated person in my family, but I will be the first person to be educated. Okay, there's no medical doctor in my family, but I'll be the first person to become a medical doctor. That's the challenge. So in the expressions, Angelou's phrase, arise, arise, arise. So we're ending the class here. The analysis at the side of the poem, the stanzas, so you can take them as you prepare for this particular poem. I'll see you some other time. Analysis of another content. Okay, thank you. Until then.
I wanted to give up. I'm done with all the things I'm going through. I'm trying to keep my head up. I try to win, but every time I lose. Should be getting better. I try, but I don't know what to do. Hope this ain't forever. I just wanna make a breakthrough, but something inside said never give up. All of these setbacks are major setups. If I keep on fighting, if I keep on trying, if I aim for the sky, one day things will go my way. One day things will go my way. One day things will go my way. I've gotta hang in there. Deep down I know one day things will change. I can't live in fear. I know I've got to push through the pain. I've gotta believe in myself. Yeah. If it's not me, then no one else will. But something inside said never give up. All of these setbacks are major setups.